we can start. Max, did you explain about the translation, how it works?
Yes, I'll re-explain for those of you that have just joined us. Thank you very much for being with us today. So at the bottom of your screen, you should have the option to choose an interpretation, whether that is in English or in French. If you select one of both options and stay on it for the whole session, you should only be hearing the language of your choice. But please tell us in the chat if that doesn't work, and we'll try and sort that out as soon as possible. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy this webinar.
Thank you, Max. So since we have a live translation, I'm going to shift in French to see if it works. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Très heureux de vous avoir pour cette session de webinaire qui va parler avant tout des 7 groupes de travail internationaux qui sont au cœur de cette démarche. Alors, j'espère que ça marche bien pour tout le monde, la traduction. C'est un peu un test aussi. Apparemment, ça devrait fonctionner. Donc, je remercie toutes les personnes qui peuvent se connecter et qui nous suivent. Certaines ne peuvent pas suivre en live cette session. C'est pour ça que, comme vous le voyez, elle est enregistrée et elle permettra d'être suivie. Donc, cette session va commencer par vous rappeler les objectifs de la démarche. C'est la première diapositive. Je crois qu'aujourd'hui, si vous êtes connecté, vous avez en tête que cette démarche est là pour transcrire le One Health en concept opérationnel. C'est notre contribution d'identifier des programmes, des actions pilotes et d'approcher ensemble de façon transversale ces enjeux. On sait qu'il existe des silos, on sait qu'on a besoin d'une verticalité technique, scientifique, opérationnelle dans beaucoup de domaines, mais on doit aussi travailler l'horizontal pour partager nos savoirs et nos capacités à développer ensemble de nouvelles approches, de nouvelles pratiques, dans la perspective des ODD 2030, bien sûr. Et donc, vous avez compris, puisque vous nous rejoignez, que cette démarche OSH Forum, nous la développons en partenariat avec le World Health Summit qui est basé à Berlin et aussi le Forum de Genève, le Geneva Global Health. Donc, voilà les préliminaires pour vous rappeler dans quel cadre nous allons développer ensemble les 7 groupes de travail internationaux qui seront lancés le 7 juillet à Lyon. Voilà les thématiques. On va les présenter, c'est le sujet aujourd'hui de cette discussion, donc faites bien d'être connectés, vous allez voir que c'est passionnant, intéressant. Avant ça, par contre, je rappellerai simplement, nous l'avons fait dans le webinaire du 20 mai, que nous sommes partis des différentes initiatives One Health, Planetary Health, qui existent. Nous avons d'ailleurs fait le 20 mai une présentation de ces diverses initiatives et c'est en lien avec elles que nous positionnons ce forum One Sustainable Health. Et nous avons souhaité compléter la présentation du 20 mai avec le professeur Francine Ntoumi, qui est avec nous et qui est à l'origine du réseau Pandora, un réseau aussi important qu'elle va nous présenter avant que nous passions, je dirais, sur les groupes de travail eux-mêmes, parce que, encore une fois, nous partons de ce qui existe et le professeur Francine Ntoumi fait partie des experts qui nous accompagnent depuis le mois de janvier et qui permettent l'aboutissement à ces thématiques. Donc, Francine, voilà, vous êtes de renommée internationale par tous vos travaux de recherche. Vous êtes aussi dans le conseil scientifique de la Fondation Gates, donc vous êtes basé en Afrique, vous travaillez beaucoup avec l'Europe, enfin mondialement. Et bien sûr, c'est précieux de vous avoir dans cette démarche par votre engagement personnel. Mais je me souviens que quand on en a parlé la première fois, c'était très spontané, comme d'ailleurs la plupart des personnes qui sont avec nous, professeur Babette Simon, professeur Patrice Debré et beaucoup d'autres, Eva aussi que je vois à l'écran. Voilà, c'était très spontané parce que vous êtes une fervente croyante dans la nécessité de rendre opérationnelle cette réalité One Health. Je vous passe la parole pour que vous puissiez exposer le réseau Pandora et ensuite nous passerons sur les groupes de travail.
Merci beaucoup et bonjour tout le monde. Alors, je vais essayer de partager mon écran et vous allez me dire si ça marche. Alors, c'est bon. Voilà.
Ça fonctionne.
Ça fonctionne? C'est bon?
Oui.
Allô? Ok. Alors, merci beaucoup. Alors, je vais passer en anglais, bon, parce que j'ai préparé la présentation en anglais, mais bonjour tout le monde. Et je remercie les organisateurs, Benoît et toute son équipe, pour l'invitation à faire cette présentation donc, du réseau Pandora. Le réseau Pandora, the Pandora Network stands for Pan-African Network for Rapid Research Response and Preparedness for Infectious Diseases Epidemics. And so I'm Francine Toumian, the coordinator of this network. So an overview of my presentation, it will be in 3 points: objectives and organization of Pandora, some activities that we have been conducting, and the challenges we are facing. So, Pandora...
Professeur Francine, excusez-moi, je ne sais pas si c'est pour les autres aussi, mais la présentation en fait ne défile plus, ne défile pas.
Oh mince. Parce que moi ça défile. Alors qu'est-ce que... Oh là là, ça commence. Alors que faut-il faire? Là, ça... Aïe.
Je peux, est-ce que c'est la même, si c'est la même présentation, j'ai votre présentation, je peux faire défiler à votre place.
Ok, bon, il y a des petites modifications, mais c'est pas grave. Ok.
D'accord.
Ok. À ce moment, oui. Donc, qu'est-ce que j'enlève le...
Je vais récupérer le...
Voilà. Ok. Oh, c'est mieux. Alors, qu'est-ce que je fais moi maintenant?
Normalement, je devrais pouvoir récupérer sans problème. Je l'ai chargé. Tac. Voilà. Par contre.
Ok. Vous me donnez le top? You give me.
Allez-y, professeur. C'est pour vous.
Ok, donc, et en plein écran, moi, je n'ai pas en plein écran, c'est normal? Ok.
Alors, normalement, il me semblait que je vous la mets en plein écran.
Ok, je crois que c'est bon. Ok. So, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Ok, so we continue on this one. Or we... Non. So ok. C'est bon. C'est bon. Ok. Je peux continuer?
Oui, allez-y. Merci, pardon.
Oh, okay. Thank you, and I apologize for this technical problem. Okay, so the Pandora network has been established in response to an EDCTP call in 2017, and Pandora is on one human and animal health multidisciplinary consortium composed of 24 partner institutions, 15 in Africa and 9 in Europe, and involving 9 African countries and 4 European countries. And The coordination is ensured by the Republic of Congo. Next slide. So in terms of countries, European countries, UK, United Kingdom with 3 institutions, France with IRD, Institut de Recherche pour le Développement, 2 institutions in Italy and 3 in Germany. For Africa, starting by West Africa, in Sierra Leone, 1 institution, 2 institutions in Ghana, 2 in Nigeria, and in Central Africa, the CERMEL, le Centre de recherche pour les maladies de l'Embarrané, Republic of Congo, the Congolese Foundation for Medical Research, and for South Africa, we have the Zambia. In East Africa, Tanzania, 3 institutions, Uganda, and Sudan. Next slide, please. The principal aim of Pandora is to strengthen regional and Pan-African capacities and systems for enabling rapid and effective response to emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases threats arising from within Africa or those imported from overseas. Next slide, please. There are 4 specific objectives. The first one is to develop and to set up a robust, ready-to-go outbreak rapid response team in the 4 African regions. The second one, to strengthen capacity to conduct health research, multidisciplinary research. The third specific objective is to train, empower scientists, health workers, and lab technicians and others. And the last one, to engage stakeholders and local NGO to collaborate in synergy. Next slide, please. And Pandora is organized around 7 work packages. Yes, this slide, thank you. And for the, go back. Yes, thank you. For implementing the activities, 4 areas: human health, animal health, ethics, and social science, and the involvement of policymakers and community. In terms of cross-cutting activities, we have epidemiology and surveillance, laboratory, training and improvement of infrastructure, and dissemination and information. Next slide, please. And for key actions and synergies, what we really work at strengthening networks, existing networks and initiatives at a regional level, like OSEAC in Central Africa, WAO in West Africa, and of course to collaborate closely with WHO, Afro, NEPAD, and Africa CDC. And also, one of our key actions is really to conduct activities, health research activities during outbreaks, but also between outbreaks. Next slide, please. Some activities conducted by Pandora. We started, as I mentioned, in the end of 2017. So in 2018, we were involved in activity in Nigeria. There was the Lassa fever outbreak there. And so some surveillance activities were conducted with some of them with community engagement and biobanking of sera samples from animals, humans, and also we have done some validation of screening tests for antibody for species, different species. And this was done in collaboration, of course, with the Nigerian Africa CDC. Next slide, please. And in 2019, in Congo, in Republic of Congo, there was a chikungunya outbreak, and also the Pandora Rapid Response Pandora team intervened we conducted surveillance activities, entomological also activities, and in the lab, some serological investigation and sequencing. And also in 2018, there was the monkeypox outbreak in Nigeria, and there's some surveillance and serology activities. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Thank you. In terms of capacity development, many across the continent and in collaboration strongly with the Africa CDC, many training activities were done. Health workers, how to build a rapid response team, lab testing, diagnostic lab testing, sequencing activities, different validation of different assays. Next slide, please. Next slide. No. And yes. And also we trained ethics committee, national or institutional ethics committee to collaborate closely with regulatory authorities, and different workshops were done on how to evaluate research protocol in emergency situations. We also have mobile laboratory operation workshop in Zambia, and also one in Ghana. Next slide, please. And of course, in 2020, with the COVID-19 pandemic, the Pandora teams, all the Pandora teams have been involved in activities in their respective countries. And the first cases in Africa were reported in mid-March of 2020, lockdown end of March. And from there, we were completely engaged in the different response activities in terms of diagnostics. We are continuing to conduct several epidemiological SARS-CoV-2 sequencing, and some European partners were involved in therapeutic and vaccine clinical trials. Next slide, please. What we have learned for Pandora team and during this pandemic is really the value of working in close collaboration with existing initiatives, with the Africa CDC, WHO, AFRO, these regional networks like Alert, because when the lockdown was effective, we have benefit of sharing protocols, data, SOPs, and from WHO and Africa CDC, we have received reagents for being able to support our different countries, at least in Africa. So really, we have benefited of this strong and better coordination and collaboration. Next slide, please. But of course, we have also faced many challenges if we want to be in One Health, effective One Health network. We have noticed that the poor communication with population, if we want to respond quickly, we need to have the support of the population, and it's remained a challenge to explain what we are doing to the population and to engage them with us. Also, poor local health research capacities and supply reagent difficulties. So this has to be improved. So health system, we have of course acknowledged our poor health systems in some regions, and the importance to train not only urban health workers, but also to have qualified health workers in remote areas. And I would say the most, it's not in red here, but I would like to put that in red, the development of disease surveillance program focused on human livestock and wildlife. It's really a neglected area, and if we want to strengthen One Health, this has really to be more supported. And of course, also the challenges are limited data provided from Africa, data provided and published from Africa, and the sequencing capacity even has been improved but remain limited. And at the moment with the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, there is the need to have the One Health network to support the follow-up, the monitoring of vaccine effectiveness in the different countries, African countries at least. Next slide, please. And as a conclusion, I would say that for long-term sustainability of our ongoing effort, there is a need to increase political commitment and more investment in One Health activities. As I mentioned earlier, really the animal health is really not enough supported. So there is a need to have really better support and better commitment, political commitment in that across the continent. And with that, we will be able to meet the challenges of future infectious disease outbreak. Next slide, please. So, yes, thank you so much. For, here you have the logos of all Pandora partners from Europe, from Africa, and of course, as I mentioned, for Pandora, and also as mentioned by Benoit, it's really important to have collaboration and to bring all these initiatives for really being able to meet the future challenges. So thank you very much for your attention. Merci beaucoup pour votre attention.
Thank you, Francine. That was very clear, and we appreciate. And again, we know your commitment for One Health for years, both on implementation of activity and research. And it's very an honor to have you with us in this transversal approach in the forum. By the way, I see that we have, yes, here you have the list of les personnes, je vais shifter en français puisqu'on a quand même la chance d'avoir la traduction. Ça permet aussi à tous nos amis francophones de bien nous comprendre. Vous voyez donc Francine Ntoumi qui vient de s'exprimer pour le réseau Pandora et parmi les personnes du conseil scientifique qui nous ont tous, je dirais, bénévolement apporté leur expertise, leur regard différent. Et il y a des personnes que vous connaissez, bien sûr, parmi ces personnes-là, qui sont plus connues. Certaines sont connectées avec nous aujourd'hui, mais c'est important de les voir. Je ne vais pas tous les citer, toutes et tous les citer, mais c'est grâce à eux que l'on peut avancer ensemble. Et certains d'entre eux vont vous présenter les groupes de travail. Je vois que Detlev, qui est bien sûr depuis le début très engagé dans cette affaire avec nous, puisque cette démarche part d'une initiative avec le World Health Summit. Detlev, est-ce que je peux me permettre de te demander quelques paroles pour bien sûr affirmer ce lien que nous avons avec la Fondation Une Santé Durable et le World Health Summit, puisque nous serons au mois d'octobre, 3 mois après le lancement des groupes de travail, pour faire un premier point à Berlin et voir l'avancement. J'ai vu que tu étais connecté. Est-ce que tu aurais l'occasion de dire un mot?
Avec plaisir, Benoît. Et puisque tous les francophones comprennent en anglais aussi, alors je préfère de parler en anglais. Parce que the World Health Summit is an international organization and the common language is English, but of course we are multilingual and French are especially welcome. And well, let me just say that from the very beginning, and many of you know that Benoit Miribel and the whole team, Fabien and others, have approached the World Trade Summit to join in forces, and if we want to improve global health, this cannot be done by one organization alone. We have to kind of collect all our expertise and get it together. And the Sustainable Development Goals, which go beyond health. The last goal, number 17, is partnership for the goals. So this, of course, is also for SDG 3, partnership for global health and well-being for all. So I'm very happy that we have such a strong One Health initiative in France now and going beyond France, and now joining with the Lausanne meeting and the World Trade Summit in Berlin. And we are very much looking forward to your participation in Berlin this fall. Thank you very much, and congratulations on everything, this meeting and everything you're doing for the common cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Detlef. And so we will work together with all the experts and the working groups that we are going to start on July 7 from Lyon, and we will work together for 1.5 years. Just also to mention that among the experts, the Scientific Advisory Committee, we have also Serge Morand. Serge is located in Thailand, but you know, he is among the experts, the high-level expert team that was launched on May 20, you know, through 4 UN agencies: WHO, FAO, OIE, and Environmental United Nations agency. So it's another signal that you know, there are many initiatives that we need to be linked together and to work, especially on the operational, to move forward by implementing this real true concept. So now we have, Detlef mentioned Fabien, and Fabien Quintard is working with us, and especially to coordinate the work of the expert that have bring us to this 6 teams for the international working groups. And so, Fabien, the floor is for you to explain how we were working, having in mind not to reproduce silo, but of course, it's needed also sometimes to have you know, a kind of a cluster of activity. So if you could explain us and also go into details of the working groups, what we have behind the title and what we expect.
Okay, thank you, Benoit. I hope everyone can hear us. So the beating heart of the One Sustainable Health Forum initiatives are the international working groups that will be set up and launched in Lyon in early July. And the list of themes that you can see on your screen has been defined collectively by the Scientific Advisory Board of the One Sustainable Health Initiative. Before to define these themes, the general idea was to target themes on which a holistic approach is required, and themes that can be translated into operational recommendations and projects. So as already mentioned by Benoit and by Detlef, really this focus on operational recommendations and projects is really essential and at the core of the One Sustainable Health Forum. So therefore, the challenge was to identify themes that are both global, cross-cutting, that is to say, themes that require interdisciplinary approaches, themes where human health is the ultimate objective, themes that are new, issues that are not already the focus of existing initiatives, and themes on which operational recommendations can be made and pilot projects can be identified. We, as already mentioned by Benoit, we wanted also to avoid recreating silos. And so therefore we wanted to facilitate discussions and interactions between all the working groups. So that's why you see on this on this picture that there are 6 working groups, and at the center, a last group, a group that we have nicknamed 6+1, and that will be not an additional group, but a group composed of all the participants from the 6 existing working groups, plus members of the Scientific Advisory Board. And this group will be responsible for defining a global vision about One Sustainable Health and work on new cross-cutting themes that require a One Sustainable Health approach. So in addition to this group 6+1, we have identified, together with the members of the Scientific Advisory Board, 6 major themes that all comprise sub-themes. So these 6 major themes, they will just be presented now, and I will start with the first theme 1, that will be presented by Patrice Debray. Patrice, over to you.
Je vais pour ma part donc parler en français. Peut-être faudrait-il rajouter que pour chacun des thèmes, nous souhaitons que les experts puissent formuler 5 plus exactement types de recommandations. La première, c'est dans le domaine des plaidoyers. La deuxième, c'est dans le domaine de l'opérationnel et des projets. Le troisième, c'est en matière de recherche et des agendas de recherche. Le quatrième, en matière d'éducation et de formation. Et le cinquième, au niveau d'équipe. Autrement dit, pour chaque, je dirais, session thématique, il faut essayer de prioriser chacune des actions dans chacun de ces domaines. Alors, je vais maintenant reprendre les thèmes qui sont dans le groupe de travail numéro 1 et qui concernent tout d'abord, de manière très générale, la pollution environnementale avec donc les recherches et toutes les notions qui intéressent la pollution par l'eau. La deuxième qui est de réduire les perturbateurs, l'effet des perturbateurs endocriniens qui peuvent venir soit des médicaments ou soit de l'usage en matière de l'agriculture. Le troisième est l'usage des xénobiotiques et plus spécialement des antibiotiques qui conduisent au développement de la résistance antimicrobienne. Le quatrième, il va s'agir de s'intéresser à la pollution physique par l'air, les bruits, la lumière. Le cinquième est de s'intéresser à toutes les modifications qui sont en relation avec les modifications climatiques, en particulier la perte de la biodiversité et les émergences infectieuses, incluant, comme vous le voyez, l'évolution des différents vecteurs animaux. Et en dernier, eh bien, il s'agira d'étudier les déchets et la pollution par les déchets et leur recyclage possible. Donc, tous ces sous-thèmes devront être traités dans ce groupe numéro 1 et essayer, comme je le redisais au début, de se focaliser sur les 5 points, le plaidoyer, les recommandations opérationnelles, celles en matière de recherche, d'éducation et d'éthique. Merci.
Je pense que c'est à moi maintenant.
Absolument.
Ok, bonjour tout le monde. Je parle en anglais. A very warm welcome from my side too. The health of our planet has sharply declined by climate change, loss of diversity and pollution. And these changes are becoming the biggest threat to our health in this century. And now to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all, we will address in the International Working Group 2, the entry point, building a sustainable food system and healthy nutrition. So we will have 4 sub-themes. We will address the first, that is food security, better nutrition, food waste management. The second will be the environmental impact of agricultural, husbandry, aquacultural, and fisheries practices. And these include also, as already mentioned in Group 1, antimicrobial resistance and gene-environment interface between ecosystems and microbes. The third theme will tackle non-communicable diseases linked to nutrition and the environment, and including microbiota and gene-environment interactions, leading to metabolic, but also inflammatory and autoimmune diseases. And the fourth sub-theme, we will deal with fair trade, fair husbandry, and agricultural practices. So why did we choose food system and nutrition? The food system has tight linkages to the climate system, to the ecosystems, land, water, oceans, to food security, and what is important for us, human health. And also, not to forget, to the socio-economic system. And the food system, there we have the potential to nurture human health and support also environmental sustainability. But at the moment, food systems are threatening both. So unhealthy food is a great risk to morbidity and mortality. So we have millions of people with insufficient food, and even many more which consume low quality diets, which can contribute to a substantial rise of obesity and diet-related non-communicable diseases, such as, coronary heart disease, stroke, or diabetes. And since many of the above-mentioned environmental systems and processes are just, as you know, pushed beyond safe boundaries by food production, a global transformation of the whole food system is urgently needed. So what can we do? It is a challenge to provide a growing population with healthy nutrient from a sustainable food system. And the working groups should bring forward a series of concrete actions to support this transformation of the world's food system. So how are we addressing this? It had already been mentioned by Fabien. The main problems concerning food system and healthy nutrition, they have multiple origins and thus require a very systemic approach. And this can only be achieved by a collaborative effort, which looks for the engagement of key stakeholders of all relevant expertise at a global level in a cross-cutting manner, and with also interlinkages to all the other 5 working groups, and in a network of networks. So we will make concrete recommendations towards the implementation of a comprehensive One Health approach for sustainable food systems and healthy nutrition. So our future on our planet largely depends on the degree of our action or, unfortunately, inaction. So each one of us can make a change. So join us in this One Sustainable Health initiative. I think we owe this to future generations. So thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Benjamin will present working group 3 normally. Benjamin.
Oui, merci Fabien. Bonjour à tous. Effectivement, je vais vous présenter donc ce groupe de travail 3 qui va s'intéresser à comprendre comment on peut adapter les paradigmes d'interaction entre l'homme, l'humain et l'environnement pour améliorer la santé humaine et planétaire. En effet, pendant très longtemps, les champs de la médecine humaine étaient complètement déconnectés de la médecine vétérinaire, mais également des sciences écologiques et donc évidemment de notre compréhension des écosystèmes. Or, ces dernières années, ces dernières décennies, on a vu de nombreuses, ce qu'on appelle des zoonoses, ces fameux microbes animaux qui sautent sur l'homme, émerger, que ça peut être la grippe aviaire, le virus Ebola, le VIH, et toutes, pour n'en citer que quelques-unes, toutes ces émergences ont illustré qu'une nouvelle approche était nécessaire, et c'est ce que l'on a appelé donc l'approche Une seule santé, One Health, ce qui a permis, dans un premier temps, de mieux comprendre, et donc aussi de mieux combattre de nombreuses maladies infectieuses, pas que des maladies émergentes d'ailleurs. Il y a eu beaucoup de maladies tropicales négligées qui ont bénéficié de cette approche. Mais aujourd'hui, évidemment, la crise du Covid-19 a aussi illustré les limites de cette approche Une seule santé. En effet, on a vu qu'il était aussi temps, en plus de mieux comprendre et de mieux combattre ce type d'émergence de zoonoses, qu'il fallait essayer de les prévenir, de prévenir leur émergence. Mais pour arriver à ce stade de la prévention, il est vraiment crucial d'implémenter cette approche One Health d'une manière durable, car ces solutions pour éviter ces émergences doivent être implémentées de façon concertée avec tous les acteurs, en tenant compte des différentes dimensions, que ce soit sociale, économique ou environnementale, mais aussi, surtout, ces solutions doivent être implémentées sur la durée. Ce sont des solutions qui doivent être vraiment pleinement intégrées dans le paysage scientifique et aussi dans le paysage politique et dans la société. Donc cette approche One Sustainable Health est évidemment assez cruciale pour pouvoir justement comprendre comment on peut adapter ces liens entre homme et environnement et de comprendre comment cela va aussi au-delà du simple exemple des zoonoses. C'est également primordial pour la santé mentale, c'est également primordial pour réduire l'impact du changement climatique, mais aussi pour assurer la sécurité alimentaire. Et c'est ce qui sera discuté au sein de ce groupe de travail, avec ici différents exemples de sous-thèmes qui seront abordés, que ce soit la planification territoriale pour justement comprendre les interactions avec les aspects démographiques et paysages, et c'est de comprendre aussi comment on peut adapter cette frontière entre la biodiversité et la faune sauvage, et avec tout ce qu'il y a, effectivement, tous les microbes, etc., qui peuvent y avoir derrière, comprendre comment on peut développer et gérer donc les écosystèmes urbains avec cette approche, les liens qu'il peut y avoir entre l'environnement, l'architecture et la santé mentale, et évidemment, bien sûr, les risques naturels qui peuvent être liés au changement climatique. Donc, comme le disait Patrice au début, dans ce groupe de travail, cela ira des limites actuelles, des approches qui sont actuellement implémentées, que j'ai très rapidement brossé ici, jusqu'à l'opérationnalisation, comme par exemple comment on peut implémenter des programmes de protection environnementale qui pourraient avoir de multiples impacts positifs, aussi bien sur les activités économiques que sur la réduction, par exemple, du risque d'émergence de zoonoses. Donc, c'est pouvoir formuler de telles recommandations qui sera assez le cœur, en fait, notre objectif au sein de ce groupe de travail. Voilà, je vous remercie.
Thanks, everyone. So I'll be presenting on the group number 4, but I want to say first that it's very exciting to see so many people connected, especially considering the importance of the One Sustainable Health approach, both for our health, but also health of future generations and of the planet. So the International Working Group number 4 is going to be focused on equitable access to quality healthcare, and really focused on how can we think about how health system and healthcare system needs to evolve to really incorporate a truly one sustainable health approach. So therefore, we'll ask this group to focus on issues that really think about building strong, sustainable, but also equitable health system. With a focus on really how can we incorporate the key element of the OSH approach in all the different aspects that are relevant to health and healthcare system. And more specifically, this will focus on how can we think about universal health coverage through a truly OSH lens? How can we make sure that programs promoting the One Sustainable Health approach can really reach the most vulnerable populations, but also make sure that the population, this population can really benefit from such an approach? How can we think in terms of equitable access to innovation, and innovation in a broad sense, including issues around value-based healthcare, the use of artificial intelligence, and digital health innovation at large, and how can we make sure that such innovations are really developed and scaled up with a focus on achieving One Sustainable Health objectives. This group will also be asked to think around issue of local capacity building and training, and both thinking about, for example, curriculum capacity building of all workers involved in all sustainable aspects of OSH, especially for healthcare system, but also thinking about the inclusion of communities and how to make sure that everyone can be involved in this capacity building element. Another topics that this group will be asked to think about is intergenerational trade-off and priorities, and really thinking about how to better take into account the long-term trade-off and priorities in existing priority setting mechanisms when it comes to healthcare system. We'll also ask this group to think about the resiliency of health system in a changing environment, and especially thinking about health system and infrastructure, and how can such system can better adapt, especially to climate change issues, but also all the different challenges brought up by the changing planet that we live in. And then finally, thinking in terms of prevention, diagnostic, vaccine, and treatment, when we think about development and access to such health products, how can we make sure, what are the potential gaps there around the One Sustainable Health approach, and how can we make sure that such gaps are accounted for and covered. I'll move on to group number 5. So the next international working group is going to be a really critical work stream, as it really going to help identify, well, how are we going to effectively drive change at the global level? And so, in other words, this group is going to be asked to focus a lot on the how we're really going to make that happen, and what are the very practical recommendations that needs to happen in order to be able to implement all the different recommendations that all the different working groups are going to come up with. In other words, this group will be asked to focus on first governance and regulation, and what are the necessary transformation in governance to foster OSH, thinking both at national but also at the global level, and including both in terms of institution, but also thinking in terms of regulations and law, and what are the needed change that need to happen to incorporate all the different elements that will come up from the working group. A second point that the group will have to think about is around the financing schemes, and what are the changes that need to happen to make sure that such an approach is properly funded in a sustainable way. So thinking both in terms of program, but also thinking in terms of research and education, thinking in terms of research and development for health product, and also thinking of how can we make sure that like externalities can be properly valued and properly accounted for. The third topic will be around ensuring an equitable and balanced path to OSH. So really thinking about kind of implementation, and how can we make sure that like all the different recommendations can be implemented, but also can be implemented in an equitable way that will reflect the diversity of beneficiary and participants in such an approach. Another topic will be around engagement with the private sector. And we know that the private sector are a key actor in this approach, both in terms of being part of the current system and being part of kind of like the solutions. And so a lot of the work in this group will be around thinking about how can we onboard business corporation in the development of such regulation and practice, and thinking in very operational way of how to get all these different actors on board. This group will also be tasked with reaching out to media and journalism, and to be clear, really thinking in terms of what's the advocacy messages and engagement, and how can we make sure that these topics that are so important are really taken into account and picked up and really disseminated in a way that really makes a difference. And finally, this group will be asked to think about ethics, and in particular, what are the kind of key critical value underpinning the One Sustainable Health approach, and how can we make sure that these values are truly promoted in all the different programs and concrete recommendations that will come out of all these different working groups. So in a key word, it's going to be really essential for all these working groups, but especially both the working group 4 and 5, to really think about very concrete proposition towards how can we achieve change. And I'll stop here and turn to Eva for group 6. Yes.
Yes, thank you. So the last but not the least, I'm going to talk about the group that is working on the development of the OSH practices and resilience with the local communities. And if I start with the overall picture of One Sustainable Health OSH, that very much bases on the Agenda 2030, which is the political agenda that we have globally, the compass for sustainable development, that also the One Sustainable Health based on. But that's a political agenda with political goals. And what we are really aiming for in the OSH is to look at the operationalization of that. And the core of that goes to the local communities where actually things are happening, where you actually base on these clear issues. As mentioned earlier, also this group is very strongly connected all the way from the 5th to the 1st one of the other groups. So we need to work in the 6+1 very actively. I would like to now present the different issues that this working group is going to focus on. And the first one is really to promote OSH in the practices in local institutions. That could be, for example, the local healthcare centers or schools or any other activities and institutions that there are. The second one is on empowering women for OSH, and women are very important actors in communities, both in families, in communities as such, but also in various jobs that are locally based. The third issue that needs to be tackled in this group is the role of education and the culture to promote OSH. And one of the great challenges in actually sustainability is that we need to have a societal debate and discussion on the human nature relationship and what would be better than talking about health, which is really in the core. So to find ways, recommendations on how actually to evolve this, and education on all different levels, from the daycares all the way to the universities, is very important to include and discuss how OSH could be implemented in those. Also training in, for example, health sector from nurses to medical doctors is important and should be paid attention here. The next one is the knowledge transfer and capacity building for OSH. This is also really important on local level where this happens. And when we are talking about capacity building as such, it is really crucial for sustainable development and especially the OSH approach, that we have the capacity in all parts of the world. At the moment, we have huge differences between OECD countries and the poorest countries in the capacity of knowledge and knowledge development, but also knowledge transfer. So that is one that needs to be tackled also on the local level. The next one is the use of the digital technologies to boost OSH, very crucial, and also has a strong connotation to justice issues, so that the coverage will be global and universal in this. And then finally, how can behavioral change help implementing OSH programs is very crucial, and there is a direct link from policies to practices to behavioral change, and there is a huge number of research on that, and most of the research is done in a transdisciplinary manner where actually the actors on local level in the communities play a key role, and we hope that this will also take place in this group, and this group will tackle these different questions. Thank you. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Eva. So these 6 working groups will be working in interaction within this 6+1 collective working group to define a global vision. But individually, each working group will work on a series of outputs. Patrice Debré has already revealed the 5 outputs of each working group will be targeting, but I will remind them. and you can see them on this slide. They are advocacy, because we want each international working group to work on a global vision and integrated approach in relation to the theme considered. We want also, the One Sustainable Health Forum is focused on implementation. So we want each group to work on operational recommendations and projects. The further output we want each group to work on is research, because it would be very useful to develop on each series of themes a strategic agenda for interdisciplinary research. The fourth output is education and communication, because it is essential to share knowledge and facilitate behavioral change and raise awareness in relation to One Sustainable Health. And the last one is ethics, because we want to promote common values in relation to One Sustainable Health. So each international working group will be working to and will be targeting 5 main outputs: advocacy, recommendations, research, education and communication, and ethics. So that's a lot of work, but we are certain that it can be achieved in the coming month. And Claire will now present the organization we foresee, the way we foresee each international working group will work. Claire,
Sure.
up to you.
Yeah, so let's get a bit practical now and let us tell you a little bit how we envision this working group to work. I think the first point to mention is that we're really keen on having very balanced group and make sure that there's good representation on a lot of different kind of axes. The first one is around global balance and making sure that there's geographical representation across different geographies, around different socioeconomic levels of countries, and we'll pay a lot of attention to that. The second element is gender balance. And we have mentioned, Eva mentioned that the role of women will be a key element to be discussed, but we'll also make sure that there's going to be gender balance in the representation of the different experts within each of the international working groups. The third one is going to be about diversity of roles. And what we mean by that is we want to make sure that when we talk about experts, we don't mean just scientists or academic experts, but that we really have people that can bring a lot of different angles to that work, making sure there's people coming from academia, but also public servants coming from the public sector, people who are really involved in kind of like the implementation of such project, people coming from the business side, and that will bring the kind of entrepreneurship lens and making sure that all these different people and all these different point of views can be brought together. And the last point is around interdisciplinarity. I think the One Sustainable Health approach by itself is interdisciplinary by nature, but we'll really make sure that obviously there's going to be representative both from the environmental health, the human health, and the animal health approach, but also making sure that we can get scientists, that we can get medical doctors, that we can get anthropologists and people from the social science, economists, architects, lawyers, and different people that will be able to bring their specific expertise and really add to the richness of the discussions. Back to you, Fabien. Merci.
Thank you, Claire. Basically, each group will organize itself and organize its work, but we have set up a series of working principles. Next slide, please, Max. The first one is independence, meaning that each member of the working groups, either experts or contributors, will participate and as individuals. They will not be representatives from their institutions. So we want really people to be able to speak and discuss as individuals. And for that reasons, we will also manage closely any possible conflict of interest to avoid possible interference between institutions or interests and the outputs of each working group. So the first really arcing principle will be independence. The second one will be is linked to that, of course, is the principle of having all discussion under Chatham House rules. We want to encourage open dialogue, and so Chatham House rules will apply to the discussions. And no discussion, no paper, no report. We will reveal the expressed opinions of participating experts. And finally, as already said several times by Benoit, by Patrice, by Detlef, we want really a strong focus on operational recommendations and implementation. So these working groups are really expected to propose operational outputs. These are the basic working principles that will guide the process in the coming month. So Benoit will now present the next steps and the calendar for this initiative. Benoit?
Thank you, Fabien, and thank you, Eva, Babette, Patrice, Claire. I also mentioned Madeleine and Max, who are working with us. I would say that if we are together today, it's thanks to their commitment and all the scientific groups. So we are all working with passion, and you see the process on the slide. So we will start, as it was said, on July 7. Again, you have to follow that session on Wednesday afternoon, especially. We will be in Euronews. And then we will have a first meeting of the working group during July, separately in a webinar, in Zoom webinar. And as it was said before, we will have a monthly update of the working groups. Then we will have another meeting in September, another one in October, and with the meeting of the World Health Summit in Berlin. And then we will have another milestone in Geneva, and we are planning a meeting. We hope we will be able to attend that meeting next year in Lyon. So it should be in June to share together the recommendations and guidelines, having in view to close this exercise, this forum, in October 2022. And the value of that forum, OSH forum, OSH, like Eva used to say, OSH forum, is your commitment. So now we mentioned, as it was said, the involvement of experts that are, convinced that we need to work together. And we also have organization. So you can have a look to the diverse organizations that are already committed in that process. And there is a diversity. I would say that it's just a start. We didn't really open for the moment. We just coming, every week. And for example, last week we welcomed the Malaria Research Training Center from Bamako that was created by Professor Ogo Baradumbo. Ogo, he was incredible, and what he created in Bamako and for Africa is incredible. And so we'll have the first meeting of the partnership of the strategic partner committee in June, in 2 weeks. So there will be a balance, because between the experts, as it was said, they will bring and work Chatham House as a whole, as a team, for evidence-based and recommendations, with also the organization, because they are ready to take into account the reality that will be issues from the work of the expert as a whole. So this is what we plan to do. And so it's just that some members, because the list of course is open, and we encourage different organizations to join. It's free. It's not a question of money, because as we decided, this forum is supported by foundations. The foundations are in the general interest, and we want to work all in general interest by reviewing the way we work. So now Max is going to give you few indication about how to participate, how to be involved in the working groups, because you have seen that we have different levels. It could be as an expert, as a contributors or followers.
Yes, thank you, Benoit, and thank you everyone for sticking with us. The little technical details about how to express your interest in participating to any of the international working groups will be through an expression of interest form that we'll ask you to fill in, on which you will be asked your professional expertise and experience, so we can best find and articulate the participation of numerous experts, we hope. This form will be available on our website in the coming days, on the OSH Forum website. It will be communicated in our follow-up newsletter that I will send out following this webinar. And it's also important to mention that, as we saw on the agenda, the international working groups will be open until the World Health Summit. So they will be launched with probably a few members on the 7th, but they will remain open until October, at the end of October, following the World Health Summit. Please send us your interest and participation. That is the same for the Strategic Partners Committee, as Benoit said. It is an open initiative, and we welcome any organisation that would like to contribute. So I think that is all from me on the expression of interest form. We'll have a quick Q&A session. So if you would please use the Q&A menu at the bottom of your screen to ask your questions. We've already had a few. And I see, so sorry for the pronunciation of the names, but Davide, how can an NGO participate in a working group? What is the process to apply the criteria and the mechanism to be part of it? Thank you, Davide, for your question. I think maybe Benoit, you could answer this question.
I think we welcome, you know, I see some comment about mental well-being health. Of course, we will include it in the working group, because as it was just mentioned, it's a start on July 7, and we will have 3 months to work on the topics and the details. And I think that it is the spirit of our scientific advisory boards in the beginning, is to be really open. We know also that we need to include the role of the patients. You know, of course, there is a medical staff, but the patients also, the clinicians, as it was said by Babette. So, Benoit Benjamin, I invite some of our members of the scientific advisory board to intervene. I saw also a comment from Jean about the low-income countries, and of course we are really open for to contribute to the strengthening of health system. It goes with the working group 4, equal access to healthcare. Someone want to add something?
Thank you, Benoit. Yes, if any member of any of our panelist speakers would like to intervene, just interrupt me. Please don't hesitate. The next question from Caroline Antoine is excreta management an issue sub-theme of any of the working groups? I may just quickly answer this question. It's important to realize that these groups are still dynamic. They are not completely fixed. It's a working process, an open and collaborative process. So by sharing your input and your feedback, whether that is as an organization through the Strategic Partners Committee or an individual interested in participating in the international working groups, the work topics can be modified to the needs the experts of each group decide. So I hope I've answered that question. If anyone else wants to add anything, please do.
I'll add maybe quickly that for the International Working Group 1, I think the theme is really broad around pollution in general, including waste management. And I imagine that like extraterritorial management would naturally fall under that first working group.
Thank you.
Yes, you're right, Claire. And also, as it is the case, for example, for AMR, antimicrobial resistance, it would be transversal for at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 international working groups. So it would be the case of, some topics, maybe also transversal. Again, the spirit is to take into account the reality. We need also to integrate the urbanization, different aspects that are not yet totally included, but that will go with the experts. Since we agree that we have in mind how to be more efficient together for human health, that include, of course, environmental health and animal health.
Our next question from Ellie, a basic and practical question. What is the time commitment needed to participate as an expert in the international working groups and the Strategic Partners Committee? Benoit or Fabien, I think you are the best position to answer.
Yeah, good question. We have in mind to have a minimum of 1 meeting for each international working group every month, 1 meeting, a monthly meeting. So this is a minimum, and then you can have mails and discussion and debate sometimes with other contributors. But the rendezvous, the monthly meeting will be 1 time per month with an update, and but it could be more depending of the time you can have. And this will be discussed also in July with the co-chairs and the experts themselves, the level of engagement they wish to have together.
Thank you, Benoit. Fabien, if you have anything to add, please do. If not, I'll move on to the next question. In French, sera-t-il possible d'échanger avec les personnes qui ont présenté les thématiques avant de soumettre une thématique? Same, Benoit, Fabien, any of the scientific advisory board members? If not, I can answer.
Oui, c'est possible je dirais que l'état d'esprit dans lequel nous sommes dans ce forum, c'est une ouverture d'état d'esprit pour prendre en compte la réalité du One Health, de s'appuyer sur tout ce qui existe, de travailler ensemble, de ne pas reproduire. Présode, Benjamin Roche, Thierry Lefrançois et d'autres sont dans Présode, qui est un réseau très puissant sur les zoonoses émergentes, notamment. Donc, on doit procéder aussi par addition. Et c'est vrai que hier, j'ai rencontré un spécialiste des villes internationales et qui nous intéresse aussi parce que l'urbanisation est un vrai enjeu. Et donc, oui, vous pourrez échanger avec les personnes. On va pouvoir faire le lien. Et je dirais là, on a une session qu'on a prévu de terminer dans 10 minutes pour ne pas prendre trop de votre temps. Mais nous restons connectés. Max est full-time dedicated sur le forum. Il y a son mail qui est indiqué, on prend les questions, on a des experts. C'est un forum vivant et qui va avancer au fur et à mesure. On n'est pas dans une logique de marbre et de choses que nous imposons. On sait qu'on doit être complémentaires et un peu dans un espace informel de discussion aussi. Pour cela, c'est ce qu'on veut préserver.
Si je puis ajouter quelque chose aussi, c'est qu'on a défini 6 grands thèmes de travail, mais ce sont des cadres. Et donc, évidemment, ces grands thèmes de travail incluent toute une série de problématiques. Et elles peuvent être enrichies au fur et à mesure de l'avancée et des pistes creusées par chacun des groupes de travail.
Merci, Fabien. That is all the questions we have for the moment. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
C'est une recommandation aussi que j'ai évoquée hier dans une réunion philanthropique à Monaco. Le prince Albert faisait une réunion de philanthropes et j'ai souligné l'importance aujourd'hui que dans les organisations, à la tête, on permette aux experts de pouvoir regarder à 360 degrés. Ce n'est pas pour se perdre, c'est simplement parce qu'on nous impose des rythmes, des plans d'action, des stratégies focus. C'est normal, mais l'heure est aussi à regarder, et c'est ce qu'on veut faire, à compléter ce qui se fait de façon verticale avec l'horizontale, vous l'avez compris. Et ça doit être encouragé à la tête, parce que sinon, voilà, on est tous la tête dans le guidon, symboliquement. C'est l'état d'esprit aussi de cette démarche et de faire remonter, et je remercie les organisations qui s'engagent, parce qu'elles sont là pour entendre ce que collectivement, ce que collégialement, les experts, qu'ils soient dans une entreprise, j'ai signalé que l'entreprise Nutri7 a rejoint la démarche, mais d'autres entreprises rejoindront peut-être du moment bien sûr qu'elles respectent le cadre qui est donné, des ONG, des centres de recherche, des universités. Voilà, c'est vraiment une affaire d'acteurs publics-privés pour essayer de voir ensemble, humblement, c'est une contribution tout ça, comment est-ce qu'on peut continuer à progresser. Parce qu'on sait qu'on a des marges de progression. Quelqu'un a mentionné tout à l'heure la santé mentale. Il y a 30 ans, j'étais avec Action contre la faim sur le terrain au Libéria. La santé mentale, on n'en parlait pas. C'est venu quelques années après. Et au début, on s'est dit, mais quel est l'intérêt de prendre la santé mentale des mères? Et puis, effectivement, c'est très important, lorsque les enfants sont malnutris, que leur mère soit aussi voilà, bien dans leur tête. La santé mentale est une dimension importante. Quelles sont aujourd'hui les choses qui ne sont pas assez transversales et que l'on doit prendre en compte davantage? Il y en a un certain nombre. Et c'est ce que l'on va partager à travers toute cette démarche.
Thank you, Benoit, and the others that have answered. We don't have any more questions, so I suggest that we close the session. Benoit, if you want to say the last few words.
Ça va être très court. D'abord, pour remercier vraiment toutes les personnes qui sont engagées. Tout le monde est bénévole dans cette affaire. Donc, c'est pour l'instant, voilà, c'est un vrai intérêt pour débattre, nous confronter sur ces réalités. Donc, ça, c'est une chance. Donc, merci vraiment à toutes les personnes qui sont dans le comité scientifique et qui sont autour et qui agissent pour ce forum, qui en est au début, puisque vous le voyez là, c'est depuis Lyon qu'on lancera, comme ça a été dit, le 7 juillet, le côté opérationnel. On sera accueilli dans les studios de Renews, donc techniquement, ça devrait être facile pour pouvoir être suivi au niveau international. Après, ça sera, comme on l'a évoqué en octobre, un autre point, il y aura eu 3 mois pour modeler, faire évoluer les groupes de travail par rapport à ce que les experts pensent, les co-chairs, avec chaque fois un rapporteur, un animateur pour que ça fonctionne bien et qu'on ait effectivement le souci de rendre opérationnelle cette approche en complémentarité, bien sûr. On ne va pas refaire ce qui se fait ailleurs, en vraie complémentarité, en s'appuyant sur les autres réseaux One Health qui sont là aussi et qui avancent sur leurs différentes thématiques. Donc voilà, notez dans votre agenda, vous voyez les horaires, c'est 2h30 à 14h, c'est 2 heures. Transférez cette invitation autour de vous, puisque voilà, on fait confiance à l'intelligence collective. C'est en nous posant ces questions qu'on fait avancer. Qu'est-ce qui va faire notre santé demain? Sur quelle valeur, sur quel axe, sur quelle thématique? C'est toutes ces questions qui nous animent aussi. Donc, pour ça, vous avez le contact, le mail voilà, de Max, le site Internet qui va évoluer dans l'été. Et n'hésitez pas, vous avez suivi cette session, n'hésitez pas à nous faire part de vos commentaires, de vos inputs pour qu'on puisse s'enrichir. Là, je vois Patrice Fondalosa du think tank Ressources aussi qui travaille depuis des années sur les questions d'eau et d'énergie. Voilà, et donc un certain nombre de personnes qui sont connectées aujourd'hui. Donc, chacun à sa place. C'est ensemble qu'on peut continuer à se poser ces questions, à faire évoluer dans le cadre de ce forum. Voilà, donc je ne sais pas si il y a encore un point à évoquer, à répondre, parce que nous nous rapprochons de la fin de session.
We don't have any more questions. If anyone has any last-minute questions, please feel free to send them through. And if not, thank you very much for following this webinar.
Il est posé la question de, je vois si les PowerPoint seront disponibles. Oui, vous pourrez avoir accès sur le site internet. Je rappelle que les présentations du 20 mai sont déjà sur le site. Hein, et je remercie toutes les autres initiatives One Health qui ont été présentées et qui sont connectées à cette démarche. Voilà. Et vous avez aussi Madeleine qui a mis dans la marge le site si vous voulez commencer à remplir des formats de participation pour vous situer comme un follower, un contributeur, un expert au niveau des groupes internationaux. Donc maintenant, on n'a plus de webinaire prévu jusqu'au 7 juillet, donc ça fait dans un mois. On vous donne rendez-vous. Il y aura une présentation à peu près de 10-12 minutes pour chacun des thèmes, plus en détail. On prendra en compte les remarques qui vont nous parvenir. Et on sera connecté à chaque fois pour chacun des groupes de travail. On sera connecté à l'international. Il y aura des personnes sur place à Lyon, depuis les studios d'Euronews, et d'autres seront à l'international, puisqu'on veut que ça soit très... si ça part d'une dynamique franco-allemande et européenne, l'objectif, c'est que ça soit approprié et global. C'est bien notre objectif. Voilà, écoutez, je voudrais remercier aussi notre interprète, Jean-Luc Villeneuve, voilà, parce que tout s'est bien passé. Je pense que ça nous permet d'avoir un maximum de personnes anglophones, francophones dans la démarche. C'est un début. J'ai vu que des personnes étaient connectées du Pakistan, d'Argentine, ça s'élargit. C'est très bien, c'est l'objectif de cette démarche. Et on sait que l'Afrique est quand même assez en avance. On a eu une présentation du réseau Pandora tout à l'heure par Francine Ntoumi. On avait aussi le 20 mai le réseau Afro-UN, le réseau des One Health des universités africaines, qui sont aussi très avancés dans ces questions One Health, parce que les réalités du terrain sur ce continent les forcent à intégrer de façon accélérée les réalités One Health. Donc, c'est une chance aussi d'avoir toutes ces expertises qui sont là. Donc, merci à toutes et à tous d'avoir été connectés aujourd'hui. Merci au comité d'organisation, au comité scientifique, à toute l'équipe et à vous toutes et à vous tous qui participez et qui allez enrichir les démarches. À très bientôt et rendez-vous, on compte sur vous le 7 mai, pardon, le 7 juillet. Le 7 juillet.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you to all
the speakers and thank you for following this event. Thank you.